happy spring if you're on this side of the world. And if not, happy fall. Also, isn't it so wild, even though it does make sense, that the other side of the world from where we're at is in the opposite season we are? Which reminds me, I need to visit the Australian summer next time it's winter in New York City. Or just fly out to Disneyland or World and maybe be warm. Yes, I'm a Disney adult. We already know this. Judge me if you want. Anyway, today I'm going to share my thoughts and strategies on something I get asked a lot, which is how do I find time for all of my creative endeavors outside of all I already have to do in a given week? And the root of this question for me is really how can you work toward the life you want to while having to live one you don't? So, we're going to chat about that today, and I'll give you all my secrets. Now, before we begin, for my new friends here, hi, I'm Julie Bethany, and I create content to empower you to live your best, most authentic life as the truest you version of who you are. And I give you the tools and resources to do that here. And I should say, if we're not official friends yet, I'd love to keep hanging out with you, and we can do that if you subscribe to the show here or come hang out with me where I'm most active, which is on the gram at Julie Bethany, where I share daily empowerment for you in even more bite-sized bits. Okay, let's do it. First, we'll talk about why I think it's important to always be working toward what you want, no matter how slowly you're doing it. Then I'll talk about how to determine where you can fit your passions into your already busy life. And finally, I'll share the best strategies I've discovered for moonlighting, essentially, or for working for myself after I work for a company. Now, let's begin with a story, and this will hopefully help you see why I think it's so important to always be working toward what you want. So, back in the day, picture little Julie, and wow, I feel so old just saying that. I'm 33, but think back a decade. Back in the day, I was a high school teacher and I loved the kids, I loved the act of teaching, and I hated the job overall. Huh? Why? Well, aside from the fact that most teachers burn out within 3 years, which I did, so yes, I'm a statistic and fine with it, I was doing part of what I loved, but I was also making some major life trade offs at the same time. Does this sound like you? I am personally, hence this show, built to motivate, encourage, and to educate. But I was having to discipline constantly in that job, and I could barely actually teach. And I hated it. And those school districts also gave us very limited resources to succeed, and thus for our kids to succeed. I had classes where more than half my students failed, even when I gave them every opportunity to succeed that I could in that class. And I was at a point during that last year of teaching where I would drive to work every morning at one point in the beautiful palm trees of Los Angeles crying. I hated my job, and I had been told my whole life how good I was at teaching and that that was the career path for me. And I felt so stuck because I was doing what I was quote unquote supposed to be doing and told to be doing and had a degree in, but I hated it. And for some reason, young Julie didn't realize that I had the power to determine what my own life looks like and that I had transferable skills that meant I could take the things I loved about that job, which were admittedly few, and find them elsewhere while removing myself from the things that made me miserable, which were many. And there was a point that last year of teaching when I decided I was going to pay for it and take Marie Forleo's B School online course. Don't know if you've heard of it, but it cost me more than a paycheck at that time. But I decided I wanted to do something for me. And instead of others who had a different vision for my life than I did, when I was the one who had to, and I hoped someday got to live my life. And I ended up giving back afterward by creating my own online course, which I'll share a clip at the end of this episode if you're feeling stuck, as as stuck as I was. But that course I took made me realize I could do more of what I loved and that life didn't have to suck. Spoiler alert. And I worked toward getting out of teaching as I was doing my time to finish out that school year before I left teaching in the public school system forever and working toward my future. And that sustained me through the hard times and made them seem smaller and less significant than the dream I had for my future. And that's the key. And that's why I will always recommend you start today, no matter how small, pursuing the dreams you have. because you wouldn't have them if they weren't meant for you. And if you're in a really awful place, that hope and momentum you're giving yourself by working toward what you want to do in life will not only help you survive now, but will create the opportunity for you to thrive later because you're laying the foundation and building now. Okay, so how do you determine where you can fit your passions into your already busy life? For me, I realize that where I spend my time shows me where my priorities lie. And when I'm not spending time pursuing my own happiness and joy and life satisfaction, I'm not prioritizing myself. And I don't want that for me or for you or for anyone. And it's admittedly difficult when you're so tired out from a life you don't love to pursue the life you want because your life is burning you out. And so, how can you also expect to burn the midnight oil when you feel that way? And by the way, lest you think that sounds selfish, you also can't pour out into others when your own cup is empty. So, you do need to pour into yourself first so you can even pour into others later. Now, I love Simon Sinek's quote on this and everything else that comes out of his mouth, honestly. He's like a quote machine. Anyway, I just looked into the ring light and now I have little rings. He says, when we work hard for something we don't believe in, it's called stress. But when we work hard for something we love, it's called passion. So, yes, your life may already be filled to the brim, but if you yourself are empty and you don't make time for pursuing what you want your life to look like, you'll continue delaying the life you want to live actually coming to fruition. And the things I often sacrifice to make time to build my future and are things like going out on evenings and weekends and watching shows and right now dating. Yes, I do make time for those things occasionally, but I don't do them as often as I might want to in order to ensure I'm making time to pursue what I want my life to look like so I can add them back in when I achieve my goals. And notice I didn't say I entirely eliminated all fun or things I love to do from my schedule. I'm not a fun sucker, okay? Also heard they're remaking Freaky Friday, cannot wait. But sometimes when I'd rather be watching a movie or playing Disney Dreamlight Valley on a weekend, I'm usually taking the time to do some of that, but then spending hours creating, which I do love to do, and editing, which I don't love to do. And we're going to talk about some strategies soon for what to do with the parts you don't love so much. But overall, we need to shift the balance of doing our leisurely activities while not eliminating them entirely because we want to stay sane, of course, while showing up for ourselves to work on the future we want to have today. The things we love to do should still be in our lives, maybe just in smaller portions now so you can fit in the work to fully enjoy them later. And I'll also note, per Simon Sinek's quote, you should be enjoying at least some of the work you're doing to create the life you want. Maybe not all of it, but if you're super stressed over what you're doing to pursue your passions, we may need to reevaluate your passions, right? Because it should feel at least partially like a joyful endeavor for you. So now let's talk the best strategies I've discovered for moonlighting, essentially, or for working for myself after I work for a company. First of all, you still need time to rest and for leisure, however you want to say it. It makes no sense to completely block yourself off from everyone you love and everything you love doing because pursuing the life you want is often more of a marathon than a sprint at first as you build the momentum. And it's going to take time, so we need to still be enjoying as much of life as possible when building an even better life for ourselves. It's like dieting, right? If you eat things now you don't like and therefore don't plan on eating when you reach your ideal state, it's going to be very difficult to maintain, right? And maybe not even worth it entirely if you're miserable attempting to pursue happiness, right? So you do need to build sustainable practices now so you don't burn out on pursuing your passions and therefore never achieve and get to enjoy them. And that means keeping time in your routine for some rest and leisure, whatever. Alongside finding time for rest is, of course, finding time to work on your goals. So we need to block off intentional time for that in your calendar and show up for yourself like a date. Next, having friends or finding a group of like-minded people going through the struggle and the joys of trying to get where you're trying to get, whether that's in entrepreneurship or into a new type of career or motherhood, etc. is really important. It will help you not give up if you have a support system of people who are trying to achieve similar goals to you or who are working toward goals in life in general. Multiple of my best friends and I are always working toward sometimes similar and sometimes very different goals, but we're all pretty ambitious. So we help encourage each other when we're stressed and not feeling ambitious and help each other strategize and build each other up to achieve what we all want to individually together. Jim Rohn taught, and Tony Robbins often repeats, that we become the 5 people we spend the most time with. So your inner circle or the people you spend the most time with should help motivate you toward your dreams instead of distracting you from them. Another interesting strategy is exchanging or paying for work to be done that you don't like doing in order to free up time to do more of what you do like to do, like relaxing. Opportunity cost. For example, I have a friend who started a podcast and outsourced all the editing. I do all my own editing, and audio editing is the bane of my existence. It can take me hours. So I've started working smarter, not harder, and gotten better equipment so the audio takes less time to edit pops out and such. But I could also technically outsource that or exchange my skills to help someone else in something I'm good at and enjoy for their editing skills if that's what they enjoy. TBD, but it's a strategy you could use if you're less of a control freak than myself. And also, this may be what you know the first employee you hire if you're an entrepreneur can do for you. And finally, it's important to keep checking in with yourself and iterating if your current strategies aren't working. That's because when you're working toward your dreams and the life you want, you know the destination, but there are so many routes you can take, and if one isn't working for you, you can readjust and try out a new route to success as you define it. So if you're feeling miserable moonlighting how you're doing it, you don't have to give up on the dream. You just have to find a better way of working toward that dream. And hopefully those strategies alongside this one to check in and iterate as you go will help you do that more joyfully. You deserve to live a life you love. And doing things now to get you there while infusing things you love into the now while you're on that journey to that goal is the greatest gift that you can give to yourself. So I hope you'll give yourself that gift. And if you like this episode, will you do me a favor and give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend, rate it, or subscribe? Because I would love to keep hanging out with you here or on Instagram at Julie Bethany. And if you want to go even deeper and you're feeling truly stuck and want someone, aka me, to guide you through the exact simple steps of getting unstuck and getting moving on your goal right now to feel happier, I do have a free mini course you can watch now and a full-length one if you really love it. And you can find that at juliebethany.com/courses or in the show notes here, and I'll put a clip in after Kippen makes her episodely appearance too. I hope you go today and start to live the life of your dreams as the best, most authentic, truest to you version of yourself you can be. Because when you do that, you show others it's possible for them too. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. We're at the point where she's running from me, of course. Say hello, Kippen. Good girl. Okay. She's exiting the building now. What do you do? Okay, bye. See you next time. I interrupt myself for this very important announcement. You're so welcome. I am beyond excited to share with you that I have a free mini course you can take right now, but also maybe wait until after you finish this episode, but to each their own. I'm not going to stop you from doing you. But the course is about helping you get unstuck and re-inspired if you feel like you're in a place like a lot of us do often, honestly, where you just don't know what you want next for your life, or if you do, how to get it. The mini course includes 10 quick minutes of me sharing strategies to help you get unstuck and re-inspired, and comes with a complimentary one-page journal entry you can download for you to work through what you want for your life and how to create the momentum to get what you want next for yourself in the easiest and fastest way possible, and you'll take away actionable items you can apply right away. And as a bonus, after the initial course, if you still left wanting more, I'll tell you about my full-length version of that course that will walk you through creating a goal and a plan to achieve it in order to get you closer to the life of your dreams you want to be living, and the exact steps to do that over the next 3 months. I will hold your lovely hands in mine and guide you toward figuring out what you want and then how to get it efficiently if you want to take it a step further. I shall run the marathon with you after the sprint so that in 3 months you will have achieved something you really want in your life. All good things take time, so for the sake of the best version of yourself and the life you could be living 3 months from now, which will fly by, you don't need to put off your dreams any longer. You deserve to live the life of your dreams as soon as possible, because why not? So let's start today. I'm ready. Are you? So check it out and get the free mini course so you can apply the tools to improve your life right away, and or to learn more about the full-length course about going from stuck to re-inspired and really crushing a massive goal in only 3 months' time with me. The links are included with this episode. I can't wait to see what you create for your life with it. And now back to your regularly scheduled programming.